Jai Hind to all and welcome to this video lecture of project management. The topic which I am going to discuss today is project identification and selection. Project identification means when you have an idea in your mind that yes, you are going to start a project, then you have lots of information with you and you have to select from that information available. Raw information is available, right? Then you have to identify that which project is good for you or which project is not. You can say it is not having any worth, it will not succeed, and that means a selection is required, right? Lots of raw data is available, you have so many information, but which information is useful, from where, that means to define the source from where you get right type of information from you which is helpful for you for project identification and selection. So project identification is a process of identifying candidate idea, that means a right idea, a successful idea having good prospect for developing into a project is called project identification. It is a process, you have to apply, you have to follow few steps in which you can identify that which project is good for you or having certain percentage of success rate. This is a systematic process. Obviously, project identification process start with the generation of project idea. In order to select the most promising project, the entrepreneur needs to generate a few ideas about the possible project. Again, I'm saying you have raw data, lots of raw data, and you have to choose that which source is good, which raw data is good for you. If you have used raw data, then it will take lots of time for you to analyze that data, right? But if you select the sources, right, if you had right source, right information with you, then it will be very helpful for you in the selection process. Project selection starts where your identification work is, that is the and if it ends, right? That means after identification, project selection process will start. Project selection is a careful study of each project idea in detail and choosing one of them for further consideration and development. Project identification and project selection both are the activities are done in the planning phase number 1, where you are conceiving an idea for the further processing, right? So as I have already told you that lots of raw data is available, right? In the era of internet, lots of data is available, but what data is useful for you, you must know that this source is good for you, from where you can generate ideas, from here you can get proper idea which is useful one for you. The project idea can be generated from the various internal and external sources. Lots of sources are available, right? So here I have the list of few sources, right? This is the list. These are example, right? There are few more or that depend upon project to project that they what are the different ideas, sources of the ideas. So we can discuss one by one. These are few examples, right? If you have an idea, if you get a proper, you can say a light or proper idea that from where you can get the information, that will be very helpful for you. So you can collect ideas, you can get information from market, product and services. Yes, this is the basic one. That is very useful and properly very used, you can say. It is well used by the businessmen, right? That they can get the information, they can get an idea from the existing product, from the existing market, from the study of the market, right? And from the study of product and services. If you are finding some gap between the existing product and the actual you can say actual requirement of the users, if there is a gap, then obviously you have an idea, you can start a project which can fill the gap between the demand and supply, or the requirement, availability of the product or requirement of the product, right? Similarly for the services too. So existing market, existing product, existing services can give you lots of idea for the future projects. Performance of existing industry in the same manner. If you are studying industries, different sectors, different industries, you can find out that there are gaps, there are something. For example, in case of automobile sector, right? In automobile sector, the vehicles which are running on the petrol or diesel or conventional fuel, that is out of industry in the in future few years, right? Now it is the era of electronic vehicle. Government is also promoting electronic vehicle. So that is a gap, or you can, the scope for you, if you can work, if you get an idea related to electronic vehicle, then the future of electronic vehicle is very bright and your project can be successful. This is an example only. Knowledge of potential customer choice, right? So if you can find out, you can make a study, market survey, customer survey, right? And you can find out that what are the choices of the potential customer, what are the users, what are the segments, where are your users, what they want. Then obviously you can get an idea that what type of project you can start in future. Import and export stats, the data. The data is freely available. Lots of government websites are there which is giving the data related to import export. After studying, after analyzing these data, you can also get an idea to start a new project. Emerging trend in the market for particular product, for prices. Yes, trends are continuously changing. Project, the customer preferences, their behaviors are continuously changing. And if you are studying well, if you are studying the trends, the changing pattern of the choices, obviously you can have an idea related to future product or services. Economic and social trend, obviously the changes in the trend, emerging trend, that is quite related. Emerging trends, and these traded trends are related to economy, social, or any other trend or any other pattern. Scope of producing substitute product. Yes, obviously if you are suppose in the for example in the engineering company, right? You are an engineering company, and if you are thinking you are innovating a product which is a substitute product, which is a substitution of the existing product, and your product is the cost of project is low, selling price is low, and quality is very good, then obviously that product is well accepted by the customers. So you can think about producing low cost, good quality substitute product, and it can be a very good project, right? It will be well accepted by the customers. Market survey and research, obviously market survey and different type of research result will give you an idea. That is a good source of idea for you to start a new project. Going through professional magazines, there are so many magazines which are industry specific, which are sectorial specific, or government magazines are available, right? By going through these magazines or by visiting trade fairs, exhibitions, you can also get some idea. Government guidelines and policy, yes, they're also very good source. These are external source of idea generation. You can find it out. And for example, as I have already taken an example of electronic vehicle, you can see that government is promoting electronic vehicle everywhere, right? So by studying the guidelines, by studying the policy related to electronic vehicle, you can also have some idea. You can start a project too. Ideas given by experienced person. Yes, the person having good experience, they are expert in their field, and their experience can give you a lot related to new ideas. Ideas of your own experience. If you are not new in the market, you have already your own business, running business, then you must have your own experience related to your business, and your own experience will give you lots of ideas too. Possibility of reviewing sick unit. This is again a good source. If there is a sick unit, you have an idea to revive it, you can acquire the sick unit. Normally the prices, the valuation of sick unit is very low. At that point of time, if you have good idea, then you can take over the sick unit and revive it, and it can be a good project. SWOT analysis, different SWOT analysis of your own business, SWOT analysis of your competitor or the market will also give you lots of ideas. Now, the next point is generation of ideas and screening of the project ideas. What are these steps? How we will conduct preliminary screening, preliminary filtration of the projects. How we do? Compatibility with the promoter. Yes, you have an idea, but that idea must be compatible with the interested personality, because there are financiers, there are venture capitalists from where you are getting finance, right? Angel finance funding providers are there. So in that situation, your idea must be in the same wavelength of the promoters. Okay, the same thinking, thought process must be same, that they must be comfortable with your ideas, right? It must offer him rapid growth and high return on the invested capital. Obviously, nobody is doing charity, so if you want funding, if you want financing from the investors, you must counsel them, you must satisfy them that your project is having rapid growth and high return. Then only they will be interested in your project. Consistency with the government policy. Obviously, you cannot start a project which is against government policies, right? So you have to study first that what are the government policies related to your idea, right? There is not any negative list or negative things, then only go with that. Availability of input. Yes, the third point is input. If you are planning something, if you are planning a project, you must ensure that all the resources, all the inputs which are required for the project is properly available, easily available to you, right? Capital requirement, technical know-how, skilled person, human resource, raw material, power supply, infrastructure, that must be there before starting your project. Okay, otherwise it will become a hurdle and it will create lots of problem to you, right? For in the completion of the project. Adequacy of the market. The fourth point is to analyze, to discuss, to collect the data about the market, that where your product or service or project is acceptable by the customer. What are the potential market, right? What will be the future sales volume? What are the growth in the sales volume, right? Potential growth must be there. If the sales growth is not there, then ROI will not be generated. Proper ROI is not generated, and your investors will be unsatisfied, right? There will be problem. Reasonableness of the cost. Next point. Cost must be reasonable. You have to control the cost, right, to make your project profitable. If your project is launching of a product, then you have to decide the selling price and proper selling price. You can say that proper selling price means the reasonable selling price which is acceptable by the customer. You can give the reasonable selling price only when cost is under your control. So cost structure of the project must enable it to realize the acceptable profit with the price. Price must be competitive, must be reasonable. Acceptability of the risk level. Obviously, every project must have project. No, you cannot say that my project is risk free. It is not a practical line, right? That means every project has the risk level. Somewhere it is low, somewhere it is moderate, high. That depend upon the project. So desirability of the project critically depend upon the risk characteristic. The risk factor can be technological change, competition, substitution, competition from the exporter, government control, whatever risk is. You have to analyze the risk, then you have to check the acceptability level, whether that risk is acceptable to you. You have a strategy to mitigate the risk or not. Then only you can start your project. So in the preliminary screening, you have to screen, you have to check, you have to evaluate the risk level too. Okay. Now, these are few methods, right? By using these methods, you can select your project. These are very helpful. These are techniques which are useful in the selection process. Second, yes. So, the techniques which are here before your screen, these techniques are monetary techniques, right? There are quantitative techniques as well as qualitative technique, right? So these are quantitative techniques based on the financial data, based on the cost benefit data. You can apply this technique, and the results of this technique will help you to select a project. Or if you have multiple projects, then these techniques will be helpful to give the ranking. Okay, so these popular techniques are like economic value added, EVA, payback period, discounted cash flow, opportunity cost, benefit cost ratio, BC ratio, scoring model, NPV, net present value, and IRR. There are few more techniques, but these are popular and within your syllabus, so we will discuss it one by one. So first is cost benefit ratio. What is that? That is the simplest way, simplest method, or simplest technique to evaluate a model, evaluate a project, right? What is that? We'll calculate cost, we'll calculate benefit out of your project, and then we compare it. Yes, if benefit is high, benefit is more than cost, then obviously project will be acceptable. It will create a positive value for you. And if it is negative, right, or less than 1, then it will be rejected. The simplest of the benefit measurement method, the cost benefit ratio is effective way of communicating the potential value of a project in easily understandable term. You can also use this cost benefit ratio as a first step, first preliminary screening, right, for the selection of the project. It measures the cost of investing in a project against the value or the return. Value means return once it is completed. So here I have an example. Suppose a project requires $280,000 in terms of resources, right, to complete a project, and expected to earn $420,000 as a return. Then your ratio will be 4:6 or 2:3. That is the cost benefit ratio. How to interpret it? 2:3. Every $2 invested, $2 invested in the project would yield $3 in the revenue, right? So it will be a profitable one and you can select it. Next method or next technique is economic value added, EVA technique, right? Economic model or economic value added technique is very much similar to the cost benefit ratio. And there in the cost benefit ratio, how we calculate? We calculate in the form of ratio, right? 3:2, 2:4, like that. But here in case of EVA, we'll calculate the total net value. That means it is a difference of cost invested and revenue generated in one number. That is profit. If this profit is positive, obviously, then your project will be acceptable. And if your you can say your benefit is less than the cost, then this figure will be negative and it will be rejected. This model provides a clear representation of quantifiable benefit, right? As I have already told you that these methods are quantifiable, quantity methods, right? Qualitative methods are also there for selection of a project. So this will provide you a quantifiable data, quantifiable benefit for a project once it is completed, and can help you in a solid idea of what kind of return is expected from the each project, right? If you can compare it with your predetermined rate, and obviously you can make a decision. Third method is payback period. Payback period is a time period in which your initial investments are recovered by the company. So payback techniques takes a look at how long it will take your company to recoup its expenses with a particular project. Okay, so the answers from the payback period will be not in rupees, not in dollar. It will be in number of years, number of days, number of months, right? Time period. For example, if your project is, the total investment in the project is $280,000 and the cash inflow generated or profit generated by the project is $20,000 a year, then what will be your payback period? So payback period will be 2,80,000 divided by 20,000. That means 14 years. It will take 14 years to recover 2,80,000 rupee, which are the initial investment in the project. Okay. If the life of the project is 20 years, then after 14 years, you will start getting profit. You will start getting revenues because your capital is already recovered. So high is the life of the project, your inflows will be high. But in case of payback period, how to decide? Lower is the payback period, better is the project, right? A project having long payback period will not be preferred by the investors, right? Because lots of risk is there. It is worth remembering that at any point of time, you try to factor in returns over the time, you should be looking at present dollar value of the future revenue, as inflation and interest will all come into play. Obviously, you have to see that what is the inflation rate, what is the interest rate, right? That's why we are calculating this payback period on the basis of cash flow, not the profit. Fourth technique which can be used for the selection of the project is discounted cash flow. As the name suggests, discounted cash flow. Discounted cash flow is a technique which is based on time value of money, TVM based concept. The discounted cash flow analysis handles the problem of calculating present value of future earned money. That means what are the future revenues, future profit which are generated by the project. We will calculate the present value of the future benefits and then compare it with the investments, right? This is one of the best way to calculate the return that occur over a long period of time rather than immediately after completion. So if the time period of the project is very long, life of the project is long, then discounted cash flow will give you better significant results for the selection. Payback period is okay, but payback period, why there are certain limitation of payback period. Payback period is generally ignore the cash flow generated after payback period, right? That will be totally ignored. But in case of discounted cash flow, we'll consider all the cash flow throughout the life of the project. This concept helps translate future earning in the present day money value, since a rupee in hand has more earning potential than I promised for later. That is the basis of your TVM concept. Okay. Now, next is net present value. Net present value is very popular, very used, well accepted technique for the selection, for the evaluation of a project. What we do, net present value technique is also based on TVM concept. So, it is discounting the cash flow which is generated by the project in future. Using discounted cash flow, net present value model helps put the whole life cycle of the project into perspective in terms of earning. Then how it is calculated? We will first we will discount the future cash flows C1, C2, CT, that is the cash flow in year 1, year 2 and year T, right? The T is the total life, total time, total life of the project. So we will first calculate the cash flow generated throughout the life of the project. Then we will discount it at a hurdle rate or at a discount rate. Then we'll total all the present value of cash inflow. And next step is minus or reduce the initial investment from the total of the present value of cash inflow. Then we will get NPV. So in the one line formula of NPV is present value of cash inflow minus present value of cash outflow. If NPV is positive, then your project will be acceptable. And if NPV is negative, that means the present value of cash inflow is less than present value of cash outflow, that is initial investment. In that situation, your project is having negative NPV value and it will be rejected. It will not be accepted. Okay. Next method is scoring model. A scoring model may be most flexible way of comparing project with another. Rather than focusing on purely on financial, scoring model let you determine which qualitative qualitative aspect of the project. That means you can score, you can give weightage to the quantitative factors as well as qualitative factors. Qualitative factors are also important for your project. It cannot be, you can say, totally ignored, right? There are so many qualitative things which are very helpful for the project. And if you are using NPV, IRR or discounted cash flow model, that will only focuses on the quantitative term. Okay. You may, for example, choose to look at profitability, overall risk, support from stakeholders. Support from stakeholder is a qualitative factor. It cannot be quantified, but you can give a weightage. And difficulty of the project, difficulty level, that can be you can see analyzed difficulty level can be incorporated in your project evaluation by using scoring model only. Once the criteria are chosen, you'll want to weight them. Weightage, obviously weightage will be according to your priorities, which factor is important for you is having highest weightage, and then on the basis of weightage you can calculate the score of the project and you can rank them accordingly. Last method is internal rate of return, IRR. IRR is a percentage, right? Like NPV, NPV will give you a amount, a fixed value. Okay, so IRR will give you a percentage and this rate of return will be compared with the predetermined rate to make a selection or rejection criteria. Yeah. So internal rate of return incorporate NPV into calculation by setting NPV to 0. What it means? It means IRR is that rate of return, that hurdle rate, that discount rate at which your NPV is 0. Once we can say that NPV is 0, what it means? It means that present value of cash inflow, all the cash inflow, present value of all the cash inflow is equal to present value of cash outflow. In that situation, only your NPV will be 0. Essentially, this means that all the cash inflow from the project, both negative or positive, even each other out. That means they are compensatory to each other. The inflow and outflow are equal and the NPV will be 0. Using the same equation as NPV that we have already here. See this? This is the equation. NPV is equal to minus CO0, this equation, right? By using this equation, you can calculate IRR. How? NPV will be 0. So, NPV 0 means CO0 is equal to C1 1 upon R, C2 divided by 1 plus R to the power 2 and so on. Okay. Now, see here. Yes. So, by solving this equation, the value of R or hurdle rate, R is hurdle rate or rate of return. That will be your required rate of return, that is IRR. And we will compare this IRR, calculated IRR, with the predetermined rate of return for the selection criteria, selection process. One more technique I have is concept of opportunity cost. Yes, opportunity cost means if you are selecting one, you can say, if you are selecting one option, then the cost of another option or the revenue generated from the another option will be wave off, and that will be your opportunity cost. The concept of opportunity cost is crucial. It is saying that opportunity cost comes down to what you are missing out or missing out on by choosing one project over another. If another is rejected, then obviously you will be missed it out, miss the returns generated from the another project. More a supplemental technique than a standalone method itself, opportunity cost can give a great way to put a certain project choice in the perspective. Obviously, that means opportunity cost cannot be used as standalone. It can be a supplementary. That means you can use NPV along with opportunity cost, IRR along with opportunity cost. So then it will give you better results. That's all for the selection process, selection techniques, right? There are few quantitative, qualitative technique too. We will use statistical formula, statistical relation like linear programming, or some other methods are also available to evaluate the project. So we'll discuss the quantitative and qualitative technique in the other videos, right? That's all for this session. Thank you so much.